everyone, this is Ashley Jamerson coming to you from Ashley Lambert Realty, and as you can tell by the title of this video, I am officially breaking up with NACA. Now, this breakup has been a long time coming. There has been red flags, there has been issues and arguments, everything that would come along with a breakup. This breakup had to happen because I need to be able to continue to provide great service to my clients, and this program specifically is a thorn in my side because I can't do that. First and foremost, I need to put a few disclaimers out there. I am an independent real estate agent. I actually own Ashley Lambert Realty. I have 4 agents that work for me, and I have an awesome team of lenders, attorneys, inspectors, and general contractors that I work with. I call them my A team because they are top tier, amazing. Like, I absolutely would not be where I am today if it was not for them and the awesome service that they provide that I don't have to check up on, but more on that later. So I'm not a NACA mortgage counselor, I'm not a NACA real estate agent, but I have helped quite a few clients go through the NACA process or start the NACA process and say forget it and go the traditional route. So now you're probably asking, why did I break up with a program that can possibly help a few of my clients out there? And the biggest reason is that it is getting harder and harder for me to close files on time with NACA. Right now it is the end of September, September 24th. I have 3 people, 2 of which are under contract and 1 of which is thinking about going new construction, but I have 2 people under contract with NACA and after they close, I am done. So I'm not taking any more new clients. So back to why it's getting harder and harder to close. Back in August, I had the worst ever situation, and that's saying a lot considering that I've had a lot of bad situations with NACA, but this situation was basically the cherry on top for me. It was like end game. My client almost lost the house. We had to beg, plead with the seller to keep her under contract. She closed about 32 days late. She had to live in an apartment with her fiance, and 2 children. She had to stay in a hotel room. The mortgage counselor became completely hands-off, would not communicate with anybody. The relationship that I thought that I built with the regional manager has been completely tarnished. I have not heard from him since before Disney, so that's like mid-August, prior to this file closing. And in my opinion, when you are in an industry of service, your goal is to serve clients. So if your workload is too heavy, you get an assistant. If your workload is too heavy, you don't get new clients. And those 2 things NACA consistently do, like they do it all the time, and then they can't service the clients that they already have. So back to my number 1 reason why I'm not working with NACA is because it's getting harder and harder to close these files on time. And other real estate agents and other builders, they know this. So when a seller puts their home on the market, they want to sell their house quickly with as little stress as possible, and they want to net as much money as possible. That's just what it is. When you bring a NACA buyer in, it will not close quickly. There will be stress and drama, and the repairs, they're like, sometimes things are not that big of a deal, and NACA sort of makes it into a huge deal and forces the seller to pay it or forces the buyer to lose out on due diligence, earnest money, inspections, and all the money that they've invested. And it's just a nightmare situation for everyone involved, because as a real estate professional, I know that every house on the market is sold as is, and when you submit that due diligence repair request, the seller doesn't have to fix it. So if there is a crack in the vinyl and they've been happy with that crack for 4 to 5 years, why should they fix it? And you're like, well, they should fix it. They're selling their house, but the house is sold as is. I mean, it boils down to that big thing. The second reason is the lack of communication. You have a mortgage counselor who has a heavy workload. They only have 30 to 45 minutes a day to answer emails, to answer questions, and they don't have an assistant, and they have back-to-back appointments where they're meeting with clients and taking new clients that they honestly cannot handle the workload. So there's a lack of communication. I tell my clients that the team that I chose them because I have their cell phone number. If crap hits the fan, I know I can get in touch with them. They know they can get in touch with me, because typically crap hits the fan before 11 o'clock in the morning, so between like 7 and 11, where the questions come up, and then after work, I would say like 5 to 8. You will not ever get a mortgage counselor, answering these questions during that time period. I know that there's probably a mortgage counselor out there. There actually was, but now he's gone. Shortly after my talk with the mortgage counselor video that I will link above, he left NACA just because his work ethic didn't match with what NACA wanted him to do. I don't know, maybe he'll tell his story one day. I have no idea, but the lack of communication is crazy. Back in July, with that same file that hit the fan in August, back in July, I had a legit one-on-one with the regional manager and the Charlotte office manager, and they gave me all of these assurances that if anything ever happened, if I needed help with any of my clients, that all I had to do was reach out to them. And it was basically a lie. I mean, they can say whatever they want to say, but when they saw my emails come through, they straight up ignored them. And you can ignore me, but why would you ignore the person that your client, because they're the mortgage provider? Like, why would they ignore their client? So number 3 on my list is that this process is causing my clients to miss out on houses. So like I mentioned earlier, I have 2 clients under contract with new construction. Their files are going fine. And then I have a third one who is looking at existing homes. First, finding a home that matches the non-priority thing is a little bit difficult, but I have found some awesome nooks and crannies here in Charlotte, so it's not as hard. However, having a seller's agent basically advise their client not to accept an offer because it's NACA, and then give valid reasons why. They say, well, Mr. Seller, you're buying this house, and the purchase of this house is dependent upon the money you're going to make from this home. It's not wise, in my opinion, to accept this NACA offer, and so therefore my client's offer does not get accepted. And that sort of rolls into number 4, is that because NACA weakens the offer so much, my clients have to go above and beyond on their offers, often offering more than purchase price, which is sort of kind of common in the seller's market, but also offering an obnoxious amount of due diligence money, earnest money, really having the mindset of, I may lose this money if the seller does not agree to make the NACA required repairs. Now, if you're a NACA mortgage counselor and you're watching this, you're going to say, well, you can roll those repair costs in there, or the buyer can pay for that. Once you get involved with the hand department and the red department, it slows things down drastically. So the 30 to 45 day closing window, which is actually more closer to 70 days. What seller wants to wait 70 days to close on their house? I don't know. But when you start adding things from these other departments into it, it just slows the process down even more, and it makes the sellers, again, more unlikely to accept a NACA offer, and then it's harder and harder to close it on time. And I am super organized. Right now, I have 12 people under contract, me personally. I have about 4 or 5 people who are actively looking. I have listings. And again, I have a team. So you have to be really organized when you're a real estate agent, when you're a mortgage broker, because if you're not, things fall in the cracks, and it just makes the process so hard. It's so crazy. Number 4 is that the process is unclear and it's forever changing. So up until June, July of this year, I could legit just send in documents via email or the email NACA ID at nacalinks.com email address. I could send it in, and that was fine. This mortgage counselor, her initials are SS, decided that I needed to do these extra steps, which is fine. I did it. But now that we have a new client together, because that last situation was so terrible, now that we have a new client together, she's saying she doesn't have it in the portal, and I have legit uploaded it 4 times. Like, obviously I'm pretty computer savvy. Like, I'm a millennial. I know how to use a computer. So yeah, it's driving me crazy. So it's unclear what each mortgage counselor needs. In the end, their processes change so much that it's hard to keep up. And as a business owner and a successful real estate agent, I don't have time to go to their workshops every month when they decide to change things. Now, the mortgage industry changes a lot. Interest rates change things. The real estate industry changes. When I first started real estate back in 2006, our contract was 5 pages long. Now we're at 13 pages. And when the new contracts were released recently, I was legit like, wow, I have to read through everything to make sure I know what I'm explaining to my clients. So it's not that I am unable to change with the times. It's just they change things and they don't tell you. Prime example, last November, I had a client under contract and she was supposed to close a week and a half, 2 weeks prior to Thanksgiving. And I know this like the back of my hand because we were on a Disney cruise and I was working on her file. I spent at least $200 on internet just to work her NACA file. Of course, my awesome husband dealt with that. From day one, they knew that she was going to be using House Charlotte, which is one of the few down payment assistance, if not the only down payment assistance program that will work with NACA. They knew from day one that she was utilizing House Charlotte. So we basically were waiting for Claire to close, waiting. It got closer to my vacation and it got closer to the time in which she was supposed to close and move out with her children into her new home prior to Thanksgiving. And NACA lost the relationship, or they severed their relationship with Citibank around that time, because it used to be Citibank and Bank of America together. So they lost that relationship with Citibank, and Citibank didn't even accept House Charlotte, so she shouldn't have been with them anyway. She should have been assigned to Bank of America, but to each their own. And 30 days in, we have to start the whole process all over again. So imagine trying to tell an investor, hey, the money that you were expecting to get in November, you're not going to get it now until December because my client's lender completely dropped the ball. So she moved into her new home a week before Christmas. Now, if you go under contract in October and you expect to close in November and you close a month later, I'm a good agent. Sometimes I can work magic. To this day, I don't know how in the world that worked out, but it worked out for my client. And the whole time, the mortgage counselor was very hands-off, could not communicate with them, could not get a straight answer. We found out maybe a week prior to closing that the issue was a NACA issue that could have been communicated to us, basically saying, our bad, we assigned it to Citibank, it should have been assigned to Bank of America, and oh, by the way, the House Charlotte situation, we should have known from day one, and maybe we could have closed this on time. So things like that is like the unknown unknowns. It drives me crazy. Like, they should have known that, but again, that's why I'm breaking up with NACA. Reason number 5 is that I have amazing relationships with various builders here in the Charlotte area. I've worked with MI, Taylor Morrison, LGI, True Homes, Meritage, DR Horton Express, Way Journey, Classica Homes, so many different builders here. And there are builders who are saying we will not work with NACA. And that takes out such a huge chunk of the market when a builder says, no matter what, we will not accept an offer from a NACA buyer. So imagine a company like LGI, which consistently falls within that first-time home buyer price range. They're the largest builder here in Charlotte. They're bigger than DR Horton. When they say, no, we will not work with NACA, that says a lot, and it's a telltale sign that sellers are feeling the same way. So you may ask, why would a builder not work with NACA? Well, a builder will not work with NACA if NACA waits until the very last minute to order the final appraisal. Now, there are various appraisals that happen throughout the build process, but when you wait until the certificate of occupancy is delivered before you order the appraisal, so the appraisal has to be ordered, completed, sent to the mortgage bank people, and then it has to be approved. And if you wait until the certificate of occupancy is delivered, then that's like another week, week and a half, 2 weeks that you're rushing trying to get this done to not make the builder mad and charge your client money. For instance, Taylor Morrison, if you don't close on time with Taylor Morrison, they can charge you up to $500 a day. And that money does not go towards the purchase of the house. It goes into Taylor Morrison's pocket. So how can I protect my client's best interest when their mortgage counselor is consistently doing crap that prevents that from happening? It drives me crazy. I mean, every mortgage lender is different, but best believe if I had an issue with one of my preferred lenders, like let's say I had an issue with Cole, and I won't because he's awesome, but let's say I have an issue with Cole over at Movement, and there are so many people I can call and I can say, hey, can you step in and help him? But he has an assistant, so he knows that his business is growing and he needed help. He has an assistant. Things don't fall on the cracks, but he has a manager who legit cares about their company, their brand, and everything, and the issue would be resolved because they want to take care of their client. So there's builders out there who say, forget it. We can sell it to someone else. Why would we go through the problems? Why would we go through the trouble? And they say, we're not going to work with NACA. There are builders who also will not accept CPOP for the same reason, but since this video is about NACA, we're going to talk about NACA. Number 6 is I can't do my job in protecting my client's best interest, and that's what I'm here to do. I'm supposed to protect my client's best interest. So if I have a client who has to offer, more than asking price when they could have gotten away with offering list price, or they have to offer more due diligence money just to show how serious they are, or they have to beg, plead, and borrow to get the NACA required repairs done, how is that helping my client? Now, yes, they are getting a great interest rate and no mortgage insurance and no closing costs, but there's programs out there that can totally match and beat the NACA situation. A lot of people call me, then they don't know that they can buy down the interest rate with a traditional lender. They don't know that they can ask for closing costs from a seller. They don't know that there's builders out there like LGI that will pay all of your closing costs. They don't know this because NACA does not go out of their way to educate their clients. They don't, and it's my job to do that as well as protect their best interest. And if you invest your due diligence money, your earnest money, which could be thousands of dollars, your home inspections, which is about $600, your re-inspection, which is like another $150. If you pay in month to month with your apartment complex, that's money you invested. That's money I have to protect. And I can't do that if it's harder and harder to close, if NACA mortgage counselors don't communicate, if the underwriters have this weird vendetta where they just want to work with just their realtors who are also overloaded with clients. It doesn't make any sense. And no one over there has an assistant. Drives me crazy. Number 7, so I keep track of my life on my planner, and when I speak to my clients, I also put their NACA appointments on my calendar just so I can call, text, or email them after their NACA appointments, just for updates to see if they have any questions and things like that. It drives me crazy when I'll get an email the day of or a phone call the day of, and they say I went to the NACA office and I didn't know my NACA appointment was canceled. Or I get a call and they say they rescheduled my appointment for a month out. And I don't know what to do because my lease is over next month and I was really hoping to get my approval letter. Why in the world are they canceling so many appointments? I noticed back in July, August, they were doing a whole bunch of these achieve the dream type events, and a lot of people from the local office would go to places like Hampton, Virginia, and Atlanta. They would go to all these places, and their files would not be touched for the whole week. So you can't get any questions, comments, or concerns answered regarding anything for a week. And in a week, that's a quarter of the process is that week, and that's a week that your file is just pushed out. It doesn't make any sense. So the rescheduling, the canceling, and then not knowing when your appointment is rescheduled, and then the length of time between today and a month from now, it doesn't make any sense, because home buyers, when they make the decision to buy, 9 times out of 10, they need to move within 2 to 3 months. And NACA just doesn't fall into that, which also goes into it's harder and harder to close. It's harder and harder for a seller to accept an offer. And it's harder for me to protect their best interest, because I have to protect this money while they're out getting clients that they can't handle. So that's just crazy. So with all that said, I'm no longer working with NACA. If you are a buyer and you were considering NACA and you no longer want to work with NACA and you want to chat with me about possibly building or help structure a loan product that will sort of match or mimic the look feel of NACA, then definitely reach out to me. I did have a client build with D.R. Horton out in Gastonia, and we were able to stack some awesome down payment assistance programs for her. We got her an amazing mortgage that she's very happy with, but I just can't. I can't work with NACA anymore. It's just not a good business decision. It stresses me out. It stresses my clients out. It's getting to the point where it's going against my business morals. I can't do it. If I was representing a seller and we got a NACA offer, I would really think twice about advising my client on whether or not they should accept that offer over another one, because I haven't ran into a mortgage counselor yet who has helped move a process along, other than Marvin, who's not there anymore, who really tried to make sure that the file closed on time and really tried to serve our client. I haven't ran into one who showed that they cared, and you have to care. It's beyond. I remember the last deal, I wrote the regional manager, I was like, it's not about the commission. I was like, I could care less at this point. I could donate it. Like, I could care less about me getting paid off of this file. I need my client in her home. She's in a hotel. And I was met with silence. He did not say anything to me. And when you're dealing with a company like that, it's time to #cancel them. Part of that cancel culture, but yeah, it's time to cancel them if you don't care about the end game, the feelings, the stress of your client. It's just, they don't care about the relationship, they don't care about anything. And as a business owner, when I have a really, really rough contract to close with a client, I won't get any referrals from that client, because even if I'm not the procuring cause of the stress tainted the whole process. So why would they refer me business? So it's just a bad business move as well for me to continue to work with NACA. So I digress a little bit. If you are thinking about buying a home, and if you feel as if you need to use NACA, but you're sick of it, you're stressed out, you heard the horror stories, then definitely reach out to me if you're like in the greater Charlotte area, and I can match you up with an awesome lender who will help structure a mortgage, down payment, all that stuff that you're comfortable with, and we'll go from there. But I just can't anymore. So that's it for now. Again, I'm officially over NACA. I'm broken up with them, and it's just over. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, definitely leave them below. All my contact information is below, and I look forward to talking to you soon.